expanding their musical prowess. Can you name the band and can you name the singer?
God, the Blues Brothers.
Spencer Davis Group,
Thank
Little
you.
Stevie Winwood. Thank you very much. Where that's from? That's from spending all my life in a radio studio. I mean, seriously, right? Spencer Davis Group, Little Stevie Winwood. Hey, Ben Errez is here. Ben Errez is the chairman and co-founder of RYVYL. In their stock symbols, RYVL. RVYL. I knew that. Let's see. Somebody's got to can Greg Totter off here. Can somebody fire him? RVYL. Well, let me tell you, I got an excuse because you changed your stock symbol in your name. Great to have you. And you are the person who is the only person that's actually successfully described to us how blockchain and digital currency works and why payment systems for such are going to be the on-ramp for all of us. It's not really the investing in. In fact, I was thinking about you the other day as I was talking about you to someone. I realized that it's not a function of us investing in digital currencies that's going to make us money. It's when we realize that the on-ramp to digital currency is really payment systems. Correct. Don't you think? Now, what do you do when you go to a grocery store? You get your stuff, and what's the other? Zip, zip, you're out, right?
Yeah. Tap and go.
I would already say the same $40 in your wallet, which is about what I have in my wallet at all times, is the same $40 I've had since the last time I went to a hotel, because that's the last time I had to tip somebody, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, right? You go to a restaurant, you're tipping them this way, right?
Right.
I don't know any other opportunities you got to tip people, but hotel, valet, restaurant. Other than that, though, we're paying for everything else through automatic payment systems as well as electric. So talk about that, because you guys really are one of the first and safest ways to pay. And I think that the real on-ramp to digital currency is how we're going to pay with digital currency, correct?
Correct, yeah. And even, when you mentioned the tipping, even tipping now in all sorts of venues is done digitally. The great extreme of that is a performance in a gentleman's club with a tattoo that has a QR code on it, and
What?
you just point your phone and tip.
Mike's trying to look innocent here, but somehow I realize you know this. So
Even that is possible.
I got a barcode here. See if I were a valet, that's here.
Yeah,
just-
why not?
Right? Or
Here's
what?
my QR.
QR code.
Yeah.
You can do it with a sticker or with a tattoo.
Talk about the difference in when we're talking about paying for goods and services in dollars versus digital, and the current infrastructure and the blockchain. Talk about the merging of it, but talk about the differences right now and the problems right now.
Yeah, so we see essentially the same problems that we forecasted years ago. Those were defined in my white paper 2 years ago in saying that we need these basic principles to be in every payment system, especially digital systems. Number one, full backup in fiat for every digital system. Number two, these funds, these custodial funds, cannot be utilized in any other fashion other than for custody. Number three, these have to be verified by a third-party entity.
What you're describing is digital currency and the blockchain.
Correct, absolutely. And what's the difference between digital currency and stablecoin? They both describe the same thing. They both reference the same underlying value. The only difference is that the standard digital currency that the government is playing with now, and other ideas that are floating out there, versus stablecoin, is the single point of truth, right? That everybody is looking at the same ledger, everybody has the same basic information, nobody can manipulate it. It's write once, read many. This is the basic principle in every custodial system in our view.
And I think what's interesting here is the way it changes the way we do business. Before we let you out of here, RYVYL is the name of the company. RVYL is the new stock symbol. Of course, Ben Errez is our guest. He's the chairman and co-founder. It's great to have you here. and I want you more often. I wanted you to tell us what you're looking most forward to for the company here in 2023, because lots of stuff, you did a lot of stuff last year. Talk about what's going on this year.
So a lot of things are happening with the company now. First of all, we joined the battle against naked shorts. We
talked
see
about
that
you early in the program. The biggest threat to our capital markets is this naked shorting and such. And you guys are on that list of
Right.
folks that joined that lawsuit. Talk about where that's going.
Yeah, so we did some research recently with a very capable team that we have seen deployed with the Genius and with Cosmos and with other players in the industry. We see trends that are frightening. We went back 5 years on our ledger with our stock, both on the OTC and on NASDAQ. And we have identified interesting trends for short selling, including naked short selling, of about 43% of all trades on our stock.
Sure.
Calculating that to today, that forms about $900 million lost to the company and its investors.
And that's
obviously.
that's one company.
And that's one company.
Yeah.
And not a large one,
Yeah.
a small one.
Well, and how that translates is not just wealth for investors. It also translates in limiting you as a company, because the perception of new investment coming in is false.
Exactly.
Right? I mean, they're looking at what you guys can do, and they say, okay, there's a lot of great things happening. Look at the press releases, things are going well. Why is the price not acting like the news? And this is the problem with any stock under $10 that's suffering through a naked short. And by the way, shorting, once again, you borrow shares from your broker, you sell those shares, you buy them back at a cheaper price. Hopefully the stock is going down, and you keep the difference and make a profit.
Yeah,
naked shorting is you don't borrow the shares, you just sell them, and you get the money back. But here's the deal: when you trade stock, either way, you get your cash in 2 days. It's called T+2. It used to be T+3. Broker to broker, though, when they're settling up the borrowed shares, 20 trading days. They're never, ever catching up. It never settles.
Oh, my God.
And the regulators are not in any position. Right. So that's what you guys are doing with Congress here, is saying, hey, look, you got to stop naked shorting. It can't exist anymore. It's illegal already, but they've got to do something more about it. What
we're trying to do is get the regulator, and particularly the SEC, to follow up on the existing regulations. So Regulation SHO has a rule called Rule 203B1, which basically forces or regulates every broker to identify the underlying security for every sale. And there's only three options.
You got to true up.
Exactly. It's called the location. Right? So you have to locate the underlying security and identify it, code it in the sale transaction.
So if I
as
want to
either
borrow,
a long, short, or exempt.
If I want to borrow 100 shares of RYVYL to bet against it or short it, you better identify those shares that I'm borrowing.
Right.
Not
so
just let me sell them.
According to the regulations, you either have to have this stock in your possession to short it, or have a reasonable opportunity to acquire it before you have to present it.
So who's the culpable party? Is it the market maker? Is it the broker dealer? Or is it the
broker dealers?
Yeah, I think so.
It's the broker dealers. So the problem is that broker dealers have a great incentive, and we spoke about it the last time, to basically bend the rules because that's their source of capital.
Because they get commissions. Exactly. Right. It's the same reason. It's the same sort of argument that we had with the mortgage-backed securities that caused the financial collapse.
Correct.
2008, 2009. Why did we have mortgage-backed securities? Why were we giving out loans by fogging up a mirror? Because mortgage brokers got a commission.
Exactly.
And then we created derivatives off that, and then they sold it, and the guy who sold it to this, so I've got all these mortgages here that I just funded. I'm going to sell it to the next guy. Well, if I'm going to sell it, I get a commission on it.
Right.
And this guy says, well, I'm going to sell it to a bigger, got a commission on that. And, and this is what perpetuates the problem. And at some point.
But you know what? This is a great example because the same problem that existed in mortgage-backed securities, where you have a mortgage for $1,000 and a security backed in it for $1,500.
Sure.
Same thing happens here. Some brokers allowed for a sale of stock that is in a number that is greater than the total shares outstanding, meaning there was never
They loaned
a
out
reasonable opportunity
They
to
loaned
buy
out
back the underlying security.
They loaned out 300% of 100%.
Exactly.
Which, by the way, is why the SEC
Exactly.
exists in the first place. Because back in the 20s, they were selling 300% of 100% of Mike's prison hooch alcohol company.
I knew it.
His name is Ben Errez. Rival, RYVYL. What's the new website, by the way?
RYVYL.com.
RYVYL.com. There you go. Put it on our website. Thank you, bud. Appreciate it. Good to see you, as usual.
Yeah.
More Big Biz coming up. Sully Costa. Now I got you thinking, huh? Rival to the rescue. See you in a minute.